Today we're going to go over this blast motion sensor. Recently I've been posting some videos, progress of my swing over the course of a week or a month with certain drills or tools, and seeing how my swing changes. So I don't go over in the videos that well. I've been using the blast motion sensor to track all of that. One of these sensors costs about $150 and you unlock I think 4 or 5 different metrics with just the basic subscription or no subscription pretty much. But for $5 extra a month you can unlock everything, which for me is a no-brainer because the 4 or 5 base metrics they have are really not that great just by themselves. You need a lot more context in your swing if you're trying to improve certain things. Like, for example, like bat speed is one of the free metrics, you know? And if you have 80 mile per hour bat speed, I've done this in the past where I had 85 mile per hour bat speed, but my rotation scores were low or my plane scores were low, and your swing actually isn't that good. Just because you have a high bat speed doesn't mean you're actually producing force into your swing. I also recommend using like an iPhone, an iPod, iPad, anything that the Blast Motion app is still available on. I have an old iPod that I use because, hey Marley. I have an old iPod that I use because I've had it downloaded for a long time. It's no longer available on that version of iOS anymore, but I also have an Android phone and the app just does not work well on there. It has, I believe it has poor reviews in the App Store, but I could never get that app to work. It just starts and crashes, starts and crashes. So if you want to use a blast sensor, I would recommend using iOS because it works very well, whereas the Android one, I've never had success. Okay, so let's go over the metrics that it measures. Bat speed, the first one I already mentioned, it basically measures the speed at impact from like on the barrel. I'll show you where. It's going to measure the bat speed like in this area. I believe it's 3 to 4 inches off the end of the bat is where it measures it. For bat speed and other measurements, one of the things you do need to do is go ahead and put in the correct weight and length of your bat so it measures at the correct points. Because if it thinks it's a 34-inch bat, it's gonna measure 3 inches down or 4 inches down. If you're swinging a 33 or 32, it's gonna be measuring the bat speed at the end of the bat, not actually on the barrel. So that can give inaccurate readings. Just make sure you're always putting in the correct weight and length. And with bat speed, you know, that's all the rage, training bat speed these days. But you need to be very careful in how you train bat speed. You need to be training everything else with it. You need to be training your bat path, everything like that, because if you just train pure bat speed and just pure exit velo against, say, like soft toss or lower velo, you're gonna end up getting your doors blown off by fastballs. I know this from experience myself, so just as a warning for you guys, if you do go down this path, like training with the blast motion sensor, don't get too caught up in the bat speed. You need to look at the full picture of everything. My favorite metric on there that I'm targeting, you know, non-stop this whole off season, is rotational acceleration. Basically, it measures how quickly your bat accelerates into the plane of the pitch or onto the plane of the pitch. Basically, high numbers equals good sequencing, using your body effectively, like your lower body and everything, whereas low numbers means you're using your hands early and not sequencing that well, so you're not getting the full power that your body has available to you. We'll go over this more, but if you look at some of the top prospects, they all have, you know, 15 plus rotational acceleration. A lot of them are in the 20s, everything like that. They get high exit velos. I read another article that said, Blast Motion says that at the MLB level, the guys with the highest rotational accelerations generally produce the highest exit velocities. Okay, and then plane score. There's 2 plane scores. There's plane efficiency, which is a metric, a percentage out of 100, and there's plane score, which is on the 20 to 80 scale. They both mean the same thing, they're just presented differently. But basically it means how early you get on plane with the ball and how deep in the zone you can hit a ball. So we can hit if we have a 80 out of 80 plane score, you know, you'll be able to hit a ball way back here and way up here. I wonder if that's showing up on camera. I don't know, but you know, whereas if you have like a 20 out of 80 score, you may only be able to hit it here and here in the zone because maybe you're coming up, you have too high attack angle, maybe you're out to in, so you're very choppy with it and everything like that. But basically, the higher the plane score, the more chance of contact you're gonna have. So if you're late on a pitch, you could still hit that ball to right field, whereas if you're early, you can hit it to left, as a righty batter, obviously. Now the connection score overall combines the early connection and connection at impact. They'll say that 90 and 90 degrees is perfect, but generally there's a 15 degree give or take. And Blast says that generally if both numbers are the same range, same area, that's very good. Basically a higher connection score means you have more adjustability and you're not using your hands to manipulate the bat. If you have a very low connection score, you're generally getting very handsy with it and not gonna have as much adjustability. However, obviously in game situations, sometimes you do just have to throw your hands at a ball. Like say it's a 2-strike, breaking ball low and away, you gotta hit that ball. You're not always gonna take the perfect swing. There's a few other metrics as well. Peak hand speed, that measures it. I believe it measures it right up here. It's at 6 inches off the bat, so probably somewhere around here, top hand somewhere. Right before impact, I believe it is. Just your basically peak hand speed. You'll see top guys have mid-20s peak hand speed. You can try to swing harder, but generally when I find myself, I swing harder, I get lower peak hand speeds. So I think a lot of that has to do with sequencing and everything, how to improve that. Then there's time to contact. That means from the top of your downswing to contact, just measuring how long that takes. Pro guys are 0.12 to 0.15. Attack angle, how the angle of your bat at contact, negative angle, positive angle. And then there's vertical bat angle. This would be a 0 angle because it is parallel with the ground. This would be about 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 90 degrees. Obviously you're never gonna swing like that. And there's different resources for guidelines like goal numbers to hit based on what level you're at. So if you're high school, college, pro ball, whatever, Blast Motion puts out their set of numbers. Personally, my favorite is Driveline. They have all their in-house numbers from more game-like situation. Hey, Joe. And then another big one, especially if you're a young guy, you're looking at other top recruits, and you want to see what their numbers are. If you look at PBR, say you look up one of the top prospects on PBR, they measure all that stuff at their combines or scouting days, whatever. You'll see a lot of top recruits that have very high rotational accelerations, high bat speeds, and high peak hand speeds. They'll be peak hand speeds will be mid upper 20s. The bat speeds will be high 70s, low 80s, and then rotational acceleration will be anywhere from 15 to I've seen guys in the 30s before. If you're a younger guy and you want to look at that, then you can see what kind of numbers they're putting up and see it against yourself. Obviously, you're never really comparing yourself against others because that doesn't work out well, but you can see what goals you're trying to work towards, Now, how do I use it? I use it to try to find drills that are correct for me. So I will try different drills, use them over a period of time and see how they affect my swing. If a drill from the beginning is not giving me good numbers I'm working towards, whether it's improving my rotation, improving my plane, or time to contact, if it's not improving that, I'll ditch the drill, look for another one. And if it keeps improving it and everything, then I'll work on that for a week or 2 weeks until I sort of hit a plateau. And as long as my numbers are climbing, they're doing good against machine, and my contact quality is improving, then I will keep that drill in my arsenal going forward. And how can you guys use it? You can use it the same way I do. You can use it just to get baseline numbers. So to get baseline numbers, you can take some machine work, some VP work, some soft toss work, stuff like that. Get a baseline of all 3 of those separately. You can start different sessions to make sure you're not overlapping those, so you know what numbers came from what session. You can get a baseline. Maybe over the course of a week, you take a couple different sessions, you average those out. That can be your baseline numbers, and then you can work from there. You can find some drills that help you like say you have good rotation and good playing and everything, and you just need to work bat speed, then you can use some weighted bats and work that bat speed. Say you have good bat speeds but your rotations are poor, you can find some drills that are going to help you get that rotation up, like the bond drill or the cruise drill. There's tons of different drills, especially conventional drills, that help you work that, because they help you sequence and use the leverage of the bat as opposed to more, trying to muscle up and swing as hard as you can. Personally, me, I train a lot of bat path, a lot of quickness drills, because that's the stuff that I need to work on. I could put up 85 mile per hour bat speed with a wood bat. This is a 34-32. If I wanted, I could go out and put up 85 mile per hour bat speeds, but that's not gonna do anything for me. My time to contact is gonna be about 0.17. My peak hand speeds will be decent, but nothing special or anything. But my rotation will be low, my plane will be low, so I won't be hitting the ball as well. I'll face a fastball and I'll get my doors blown off despite having really high bat speeds to catch up to that fastball. I'm very slow with the trigger. So that's why I work on bat path, rotational acceleration, working that quickness, getting my time to contact down, which I have. I believe my last session before, I actually injured myself recently, but my last session before I got hurt, I was hitting 0.13 pretty consistently a few times during the round. I did like a 20 pitch session of BP, and I was 0.13 to 0.15 consistently. Whereas this off season, when I started the off season, I was like 0.17, because last year I was training bat speed, stuff like that, just trying to hit the ball as hard as I could off of soft toss or slow pitches, to try to swing harder, which taught me how to swing harder, but I swung worse. And to end it, obviously there's a lot more that goes into hitting than just your swing metrics. You could have the best metrics in the world but not be a hitter. Your plate discipline, your focus, your mentality at the plate. Hitters are gonna hit no matter what the metrics say. There will be guys who can't put up good bat speeds or can't put up good rotation, whatever, and they're good hitters because, some people, once the switch flips, they get into a game, they do put up those numbers. They're a good hitter. They know how to track the ball well, whatever. Swing metrics are only going to get you so far, but they can help you improve your swing. You need to think about it not as, for me, I've fallen into the trap of, I got to do this with my elbow or this with my legs, or I got to get my legs involved. And then you go into game and you're thinking about your mechanics in the game. That's not what we want to do. We want to provide constraints with drills, the bond drill, you're just trying to hit it into the ground. That's just your focus. That's an external focus as opposed to internal. You're not going to yip yourself up, and you can get your body to start doing things without thinking about doing those things. If you have any questions, just leave it down in the comments. I'll make sure to respond.